gentlemen, and tarnished of all ages, a new patch is upon us, and it is a big old pot stirrer, changing up all kinds of things from top to bottom as far as balancing goes within Elden Ring, and of course with the big changes come new builds to play around with for slaying any and all foes, be they random gents out in the field, big old bosses that we all know and love, or even your fellow man. Today I come to you with something that somewhat worked before, but has made it noticeably better as a result of the patch 1.07, a build causing your opponent to decay before your very eyes, boosting your own damage as it happens, and just generally turning any opponent into minced meat in the process. Of course, the biggest changes here is to our opener. The patch significantly buffed an awesome incantation called Scarlet Aeonia, where you turn into Melania herself and come crashing down to cause an explosion of scarlet rot around you, inflicting the debuff upon anyone nearby. It's really good now. The changes to it essentially just give you a bunch of super armor in the windup, making it really easy to use in a lot of situations, at least compared to how it was before, and also the recovery time is significantly shortened, so you don't just have to sit there on the ground for ages afterwards. It does good damage, and of course the Scarlet Rot part itself is the main reason that we want to use it. This of course ticks for a really decent amount of damage per second over time, decided partially by your enemy's maximum health, for a duration of 90 seconds. This is a minute and a half that you can just watch your enemies slowly get weaker and weaker right in front of you without having to lift another finger. But of course, if you did lift a finger, you could add even more, as there have been some changes to the poison applied by the Coil shield, which is literally a snake that you can keep on your arm, and when you press the Ash of War, it comes to life, lashing out and biting your enemy. Beforehand, this thing was pretty decent, but it took multiple hits to apply the poison, and it didn't do great damage in the attack itself. But now with patch 1.07, it has been buffed quite notably, and against pretty much any target around, it will apply deadly poison in 1 hit, 2 hits maximum if they're particularly resistant, making your target tick out for even more damage while you just sit there and laugh at them.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
What's especially interesting about this shield though is that before patch 1.07, the poison effect from the shield was notably weaker, at least against players. When it applied deadly poison, it would deal 8 damage per second, but now with this recent patch came a notable upgrade to this, literally doubling the damage of deadly poison on players up to 16, which is quite strong. It is also worth noting that there is some sort of bugged interaction going on here with players, where if they have 60 immunity or higher from their armor set, the shield will apply regular poison instead of deadly poison. I say this is a bug because no other source of deadly poison works this way. They all apply deadly poison no matter what, so this is just a strange interaction. In any case, if you apply Scarlet Rot to an enemy and also deal deadly poison to them, they should tick out from pure damage over time unless they heal or cure themselves. Put quite simply, against a player, deadly poison will hit for 16 per second over 30 seconds or 480 damage. Scarlet Rot will tick for around 19 per second depending on their max health over 90 seconds, which is around 1700 damage. This adds up to a sweet 2180 total, and unless they are specifically built like a brick wall of a tank, an average player just won't have that amount of health, as you can see by this fine gentleman just ticking away his health over time until he dies a grossly unceremonial death. I am very sorry. And of course, to round it all off, we also have Poison Moth on our main hand weapon, which is an Ash of War that removes the poison debuff from your foe and boosts its own damage considerably by doing so. And with that, a beautiful loop is formed. Apply Scarlet Rot at the start of the fight, apply deadly poison with the shield, deal general damage for about 20 seconds or so, and then use Poison Moth to remove the poison for a big extra chunk of damage, then reapply the poison and repeat. So what is it that we actually use to make the build function at its highest potential then? Well, firstly and most importantly is probably the shield itself, the Coil shield. This shield's Ash of War damage scales with strength, and as a result we are aiming to have our main hand weapon also scale with strength, as the Poison Mothlight Ash of War doesn't scale with any particular stat. For that purpose then, an excellent choice, and the one that we are using, is the Beastman's Curved Sword, set to heavy scaling to make the strength even stronger. On top of this, we need a seal to cast our incantations, and as we are mostly focusing on strength as an attribute, the most fitting one is the Claw Mark seal. However, you can also choose one that has 0 weight instead if you care more about the endurance cost than the value, as the only incantation that we use that is affected by scaling is Scarlet Aeonia, and we want that more for its debuff application than the damage of the spell itself. As well, we are also going to be using the basic buffing incantations that are in pretty much every build that you've ever seen in Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength. As for where to get these items, the Coil Shield is found in the Volcano Cave near the top of Mount Gelmir on a corpse inside if you follow the path that's being shown on the screen right now. There are also enemies waiting for you in this room that you find the shield, so do take some care once you're there. The Beastman's Curved Sword is just a random drop chance from any Beastman who is wielding it, and a number of them can be found just beside the Crumbling Beast Grave Site of Grace in Farum Azula. The Poison Moth Light Ash of War is dropped by the Knights Cavalry boss who spawns right around here at night in Caelid. The Clawmark Seal comes from giving Geraint the Beast Clergyman death roots in the Bestial Sanctum, and the Scarlet Aeonia incantation is traded for with the Remembrance from defeating Melania herself. As for the two classic buffing incantations, Golden Vow can be found in the Corpse Stench Shack on the eastern side of Mount Gelmir, and Flame Grant Me Strength is located behind Fort Gale on the western side of Caelid, guarded by a couple of flame wagons.
Yeah, I'm on the wagon, man.
Next up on our shopping list of buffin' and debuffin' goodies, we have the Mushroom Crown Helmet. This piece of headwear boosts your damage by 10% for 20 seconds when poison or scarlet rot is applied near you, and if you want it, you can find it in the Lake of Rot region in the southeastern side of the lake itself. You will find a fallen over pillar. Climb up this to the square structure and jump in to find the helmet waiting to grow onto your head. As for the rest of your armor set, that is just totally up to you. Fashion choice as you please, though I'd recommend getting a somewhat comfortable amount of poise to let you actually use this playstyle to its fullest. After that, we have the talismans, of course, the most important of which being the Kindred of Rot's Exaltation talisman, boosting your overall damage by 20% for 20 seconds after poison or scarlet rot is applied near you. And this one comes from the boss at the end of the Seethwater Cave, which is right around the bottom of Mount Gelmir. Then of course we have the Shard of Alexander talisman to buff the damage of both the Coil Shield Ash of War and also Poison Mothlight itself. And this comes at the end of a quest chain that takes you throughout the entire map. First you have to meet up with Alexander after killing Radon in the desert area of his boss fight, and then you have to meet him in the lava fields on the western side of Mount Gelmir, and then finally you have to meet up with Alexander one last time near the Dragon Temple Lift in Farum Azula, after which you will receive this talisman to boost your weapon skill damage by 15%. Aside from this, your remaining talisman slots are pretty much just personal choice. You could either choose to use ones that boost incantation damage if you really want to lean further into Scarlet Aeonia and use it more often than just at the start of the fight, or you could go more onto the utility side with something like the Dragon Crest Great Shield talisman or the Erd Tree talisman, both of which are exceptional multi-purpose talismans. As far as your Wondrous Flask mixture, there is nothing that particularly buffs poison or rot, which are the main deals that we're playing around with here, so like the last two talisman slots, this is up to you personally. If you find yourself just doing a lot of general weapon attacking, then the repetitive hits tier is a pretty good choice here, but there is also no harm in using these for pure utility if you'd prefer. With that covered, then the only thing remaining to talk about here is your stats. As I mentioned earlier, your strength is the only attribute that will directly contribute to your general damage with the way that we have this built, so you want to get this attribute up to 80. We want 35 faith as well, as this lets us use all of our incantations. Then we want a good healthy chunk of vigor as well for comfortable gameplay. Anything above 40 is usable in the endgame, but 60 is a much more comfortable range if you can reach it. With your remaining points, split them up between mind and endurance. Only get enough endurance to let you be at medium equip load with your armor set of choice, then let the rest of your points funnel into mind to let you cast more spells without needing to drink a flask. And there you have it, everyone. The deadliest multi-debuff build around, fully complete and set within its ways. You start the fight with a big old pop of damage and the application of a long-lasting super strong damage over time Scarlet Rot debuff, then continue by applying deadly poison, and then while those tick away you can hit light attacks for around 1000 damage due to the way that we have this build kitted out. And then make sure that you use Poison Moth Flight to take advantage of its bonus damage against poisoned enemies, then repoison your foe again to reactivate the buffs from your helmet and talisman, which of course in turn buffs your weapon attacks in general. It is just a beautiful cycle of synergy all playing off of each other, and I'm just quite happy with how this one has turned out. I hope you have enjoyed this Decaying Doom build. I hope you enjoy using it if you try it out yourself, and of course let us know in the comments if you have any other ideas for fun or interesting builds based around changes in patch 1.07. And I hope you all have fun playing Elden Ring until the next time that I see you. Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.